Hi, and welcome back to BeanTalk. Today we're going to talk about a very cool event that I attended quite recently, the Taiwan International Coffee Show. If you're new to our channel, our name is BeanTalk Coffee News, and we like to talk about all things coffee. So whether this is about events like today or coffee equipment, interviews with people from the industry, we like to do it all. Yeah, so if you like our video, please hit the like and subscribe button. It would mean a lot. And yeah, back to the video. So the Taiwan International Coffee Show is, I believe, the biggest coffee exhibition within Asia, and it was super interesting. It was huge and there was so much to see and so many people to get to know and talk to. I'll try to briefly talk about my experience there, what I saw, and also how it differed from exhibitions here in Europe. First off, I want to talk about my experience in Taiwan and the coffee show itself. Then I'll try to talk a little bit about the equipment that I saw, because there were some things that you might not see here. I also would like to talk about the trends. Then lastly, I would like to talk about the World Coffee Championships that took place there. Let's start, of course, with Taipei itself. It's an amazing city. I really loved it there. People were super kind and friendly, also very respectful. It was my first visit in Taiwan, and I absolutely enjoyed it. Would definitely go there again. We had 4 days at the coffee show and it was super interesting. General interest from people into coffee was quite different from what I'm used to here in Europe, like compared to the Vienna coffees, where people just go because it's an exhibition and want something to do on a Sunday, for example. But there the people were generally interested into coffee and wanted to know more and wanted to get to know people from the industry. For example, there was the former Brewers Cup World Champ that brewed on one of the booths there, and there were people lining up just to see him, get coffee from him. So it was quite different from what I'm used to, and people were asking far more questions, were generally more interested into products that were presented into coffee, also the competitors that I'm gonna talk about later on. If you ever get the chance to go there, definitely do it. It's really cool. It's a very unique experience, especially for us Europeans. It's quite something different. Talk about the exhibition and the equipment I saw. In case you didn't know, Taiwan is a very industrial country that produces a lot of different things, also in the coffee industry. So like burrs or filters, a lot of that is actually produced in Taiwan. So it's quite cool to get to know some of the manufacturers there that are based in Taiwan. So I'd like to talk about some of the equipment I saw there. As you might see here on my table already, I took home a few things. So for example, one thing that definitely stood out was this filter called Maker. These are handmade and there are a couple of different sizes and it just looks absolutely stunning. I went for this black version, but they were also colored like a flower, and so it was very cool, something quite different. In general, a lot of ceramics or ceramic producers exhibited at the show. And yeah, and also one thing that I found quite neat was there was a rent a cup model. You could rent a cup or you could also keep it, like me. This was actually, instead of like using paper cups or having like reusable cups out of plastic, have a nasty aftertaste, you would actually get one of these. You could put them around your neck, and then if you wanted to try some coffee, just go there and they would put into your little cup. The only thing that was a little difficult was when it was dangling down, you might spill some coffee on your shirt. So you would make sure that you would wear a black t-shirt. There was stuff like that and a bunch of other different brewing devices. And of course, there were companies like Hario, for example, that were exhibiting some of their new stuff. Also some reusable like thermo cups and stuff like that, which was quite interesting. Also a little different designs from what I'm used to here. There was a lot of like home barista equipment. And so I also went to the host in Milan recently, which is the biggest hospitality exhibition in the world. And so looking at these two exhibitions, it was quite clear that one of the huge trends right now are grinders. people are far more interested into grinders, burrs, and stuff like that than they used to be. Especially like home baristas, they go completely crazy about like different single dosing grinders. This was also noticeable at the exhibition, and so there were, for example, there was Weber Workshops exhibiting some of their stuff, some other grinders, hand grinders, 1C Presso, there was Kino grinders, just showing off their products. And yeah, which was quite interesting for me. Also talking about Weber Workshops, they produce a lot of their stuff in Taiwan, so they were also exhibiting there, which was really, really cool. You might have seen one of our latest videos about the Moonraker, and so obviously they had the Moonraker there in the different versions, which was also cool to see the one with the golden gears. Looks super, super fancy. And then also other stuff, like their different grinders, like the Ichi-1 grinder, but also they had some filter baskets in all sorts of sizes. So I think it even went up to like 28 grams of filter baskets you could pack in there with super precise holes in it and everything. And also briefly got to meet their founder, Douglas Weber, which was really cool for me. And yeah, in general, super cool booth and company. Yeah, then there was also Wafo, which is also, I believe, a Taiwanese company, and they produce also filter baskets, but very unique because they don't make like the regular filter baskets, but they actually have some patterns that, from what I understood, they actually try to force channeling in certain regions of the baskets to get a different kind of cup with. People there are far more interested into new stuff compared to here. Or at least that's the impression that I got, that Taiwanese people want to have the newest stuff. So they're more interested into also buying the new stuff, like early adopters, and which was quite cool. And also that combined with them being a producing country, there were many like smaller companies produced different things. And so, for example, I met a company that actually produces like burrs for different manufacturers, even in Europe. So that was super interesting. Little nifty stuff like some automatic filter brewers. I don't know why that was at the coffee exhibition, but it was quite funny. There was like a vending machine that would make, like, out of fresh lemons, would make you a lemonade, and you could choose that, and it was quite interesting, and very, very good lemonade. Just like different stuff that you wouldn't see at an exhibition here in Europe. I believe that some of the products that I saw there definitely could come over here. Maybe in a few years we have a market for that here. But like I said, in general, it was also noticeable there that a large majority of the industry now focuses more on home baristas and try to produce also high-end equipment for them. I think we're going to see even more of that in the next years, and that also large manufacturers produce something for home users. And yeah, talk about large manufacturers. Obviously, the large espresso machine manufacturers like La Cimbali, Faima, Slayer, Sanremo, and all the other ones obviously had a booth there, presented their new products to the people there. But one thing that was super interesting, and is always my favorite part about these sort of exhibitions, are the competition. Like I said earlier, there's the World Coffee Roasting Championship, the World Coffee and Good Spirits Championship, and the World Latte Art Championship there. I don't want to get too much into detail about the Coffee Roasting Championship, because in our next video, we're actually going to interview Lukas Stöner from Deluxe Café, who is the Austrian roasting champion. And he's going to explain us more about what the Coffee Roasting Championship in general is about and his experience in Taipei. So also one thing that was super interesting was the different coffee origins that we could try there, because there's some coffee that we just don't get in Europe, especially from Asia. So there were actually people exhibiting with coffee from China, from Taiwan, of course, from Thailand, and also Hawaii. So it was quite interesting for me to also try this coffee, since we don't get it here, but it was really, really good quality, and I love to see more of that here in Europe as well, and try more of that coffee. And also the roasters in general there did an amazing job. I think some of the roasters there that I saw might have had the coolest brandings I've seen from a coffee roaster, to be honest. And yeah, so that was quite cool. And there was also like a roaster from Hong Kong, so I also bought a t-shirt there, which I really liked. So I love washed and clean coffee, of course. Talk about Coffee and Good Spirits Championship. The Austrian competitor was Markus Brunn from Gotha Coffee, and I actually got to see him perform at the Spirit Bar, which is quite a new concept for the Coffee and Good Spirits Championship, where you actually roll a dice, kind of get a theme for a cocktail, and then out of sponsored spirits and syrups, you actually have to create something on the stage. So that was quite cool. Then there was Tamara Nadolf at the Latte Art competition. Sadly, I did not see her compete or could film her because there was some overlap. But yeah, what was crazy there was just the massive crowd that you had at every competition. At competitions here, for example, Latte Art usually has a big crowd because it's quite easy to understand for people, and it's cool to look at when people draw something into a coffee cup. But stuff like the roasting competition, for example, usually doesn't really have a crowd. Like at the last World Championship that I went to, which was in Milan, where Felix won, there was hardly anybody watching. But in Taipei, there was a huge crowd, and I think the competitors even gave like autographs. I know from Lucas, he gave around 30 autographs to people that stopped by there and were super excited. I wanted to get to know him, try his coffee and stuff like that. So that was super, super cool. Also Coffee and Good Spirits. I think for the competitors, from what I heard from them, it was very cool for them to compete in Taiwan. Quite different from Europe, just because of the general interest, again, from the people into what they do, and the respect and the appreciation for it. That was the World Coffee Championship. In the next video, we're going to have Lucas here to talk more about the championship, so that's going to be super cool, so definitely tune in for that. That was it from the International Taiwan Coffee Show. And again, I can just say Taipei is a beautiful city, really nice to visit, so if you ever get the chance, do it. You won't regret it. And yeah, if you like dumplings, go to Din Tai Fung. It's a very cool dumpling place that is recommended by everyone that we met in Taipei. That's it for now. Drink loads of good coffee and see you next time. Bye.